Talks. We're going to have an amazing young man, PJ Morton will be on with us today. He's a Grammy winner. He's a Stellar winner. He's a Dove winner. He's an amazing young man, and I can't wait to talk to him today. It's going to be an exciting time. Hi, Jillian. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Jillian, can you see me? I just feel like it's a little dark over here. I don't know. So let us know if you can see us. And you can see this light on the top. But anyway, it's been a crazy day already today. We're kind of wondering what's going to happen with the election. That is so banankers. But it's looking good for Biden. We'll see if we can keep that going without having a revolution on our hands. Hi, fan of Dorinda Clark Cole. How are you doing today? Thank you for being there with us. You're a wonderful person. We're going to have a really good talk today with a young man. This is one of the songs from his first album. Gibberish is what it's called, but I just remember it as blah, 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 blah. So, can you guys hear that song? Blah, blah, blah. So it's pretty exciting.
Looking at your picture.
So great. We've been a fan of his since day one, and so.
Oh yeah. I think when he wasn't even a teenager.
Well, we'll talk about that part when he gets on. But yeah, we've been a fan for a long time. Yeah, I love this song Gibberish too. So we'll get him on in a minute. But you guys loving today? Maybe today we'll get the finals on.
It's not gonna happen today. So
you don't think on the election?
It is going to be what it's going to be. And it's looking good so far, but that's we'll see. I think we want to be exercise prudence and take it a step at a time to avoid any kind of foolishness and craziness. So we don't want to rush anything.
Yeah, I don't know if we can avoid the foolishness and craziness.
Well, we can do what we.
Here we go. Hey, Corey's. Hey, how are you doing? How's your music going? Good to see ya. Really good to see you. We're playing right now from the first project, Hi D Maestro, the first record that PJ did, which was called Emotions. That's how I really got into him, was from blah, 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 blah. He is just such a genius at writing. He is just so good. And
he has Corey said hi. He was. We saw him at the H Club.
Yeah, did you hear the H Club closed down, Corey's? Oh my gosh, it's so devastating.
Well, he said he's working hard, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good. So we'll work on getting a little bit. We're waiting, I guess, a little bit for PJ, but he's just an incredible person. Yeah, you said genius indeed. PJ is a genius, and when I tell you some of the stories of when I first met him, you'll really know for sure how
We'll play another song.
Really incredible. Mm-hmm. From the emotion. Yeah, we can play another song too. He's instrument. He is a genius and superstar. I love You're a Superstar. This is from the first album, Under Rock, Under a Tree.
You want to turn it up a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, PJ's coming on. We're waiting for him. It's coming to come on. Wherever you are. You're a superstar.
Yes. Hey. Y'all good?
We good. How you, man?
I'm good. Look, this election has me crazy.
Yo, it has this all crazy.
Okay, we were just talking about it.
But it's all good.
I set my alarm, and then I just got that text at 2:03. I'm like, oh man, I'm tripping.
Well, what are they saying now? I mean,
No,
it's like
just getting better and better.
Just that intoxicating map that they keep touching and giving me the same scenario over.
Scenario.
Right.
Yeah,
Georgia might be coming in. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. We're almost there.
Brothers and sisters from Philly came out, okay?
Seriously, Georgia
came,
flipping. That's so crazy. Yeah, Georgia. That is amazing.
Georgia, they came out.
Amazing. It's good to see y'all.
Oh,
yes,
it's so good to see.
Can you see us
PJ.
clearly?
Can you
Yes,
see us?
Am I not clear?
No, yeah, you're very clear. So
Okay,
we're just gonna keep praying. Oh, PJ, we haven't had a chance to really talk in a while, and it just makes me want to cry. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell this story just straight from the beginning where we can get it out.
Okay.
When PJ was about 15, he wasn't even as tall as me. He came up to me like a grown man and said, I'm going to be a producer and a writer. And you had this very faint mustache. And I'm like, oh, you are? Okay.
Talk about this mustache.
It was a very slight mustache. And you just told me all this stuff that you were going to do. And we had signed Full Gospel, I guess, at that time. And of course, your parents are good friends of ours, even though we haven't talked to them in a little while. But you were so sure of yourself and what you were going to do that afterwards we went up to, I call your parents Bishop and Co. Because at one time, Deborah was co-pastor. Right? Now I know she's pastor, but I still call her Co. So we went up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Co. So we went up and I said, Bishop, Co, do you know what your son did? He came right up to me, strong and tall, and told me all the stuff he was going to do. But what is so amazing, PJ, you're doing it.
Amen.
Look at God.
Amen. Praise God.
Yeah, I get hearing it from you. I didn't remember how crazy I was, But my
crazy.
I don't remember being that confident, I guess.
Oh, baby.
But my first placement was Men Standard. I was 15. So I started to probably feel, when I met you, I was feeling like, all right, I'm about to do this for real. Vicki Mack she's a boss. I'm about to boss up and let her know what it is.
You stood up straight. And when I told your parents, Deborah, Pastor Morton. What is Deborah? What does Co call her? I'm gonna call her Co because that's what
Pastor D. They call it Pastor D.
Pastor D now. Okay. She said, well, yeah. And your brother said, yeah. And you are
a three chord cold chord is hard to be broken.
Yeah, we had
3/4 chord it's hard to be broken.
Yeah.
And so I just have sat and watched and helped from afar when I could. And you are something so amazingly unique. And that's kind of what we want to talk about a little bit. There are so many.
If I can say, because from afar, there were the Barry Gordys and the Quincy Joneses, but you were the first CEO and running your label that I had ever met who was doing it successfully, not one time, but back to back, continuing to do it. And I used to tell people, Vicki Mack don't play with that business. I used to tell people, but you were a strong Black woman and an example. Of course, I had my mother, but you were
Absolutely.
of what I wanted to do. And I've always been grateful for that. I mean, we've talked so many times. I remember even your brand Squeaky, I think that you wanted to
Right.
do, which is yeah.
You remember
But it,
that?
but it was always in line with what I did. Yeah, I remember when you let me hear Benny and the Jets, by Elton John. But there's always been a connection there, and I've always just been appreciative. I had someone close enough that I could look to and actually feel and know. So I appreciate you just for that, and for you, all of you, really. We've been family for a long time and
For
connected.
a
So
long time.
I didn't want to stop your interview, but I did want to.
This is all part of it, man. We just talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We're just talking. People are getting a chance to hear what we be doing anyway.
Right.
What we be doing anyway. But I'm so glad to know you, and your family, of course, has been such a blessing. And your sisters, Jasmine and Zani.
Chris, Ani is her middle name. Yeah, Ani.
Ani. That's because she worked with Shami. They both went to the same school, SCAD.
No.
Yep.
She helped me on the Lily Mac.
The Lily Mac publishing series when we did that.
Yeah, she went to FITM. They were both
She went to FITM in LA.
And they linked up. Yeah.
Okay. But I think one of the things about you, PJ, you are so real, and you're such an old soul in a lot of ways. And you get that in the music. We just played How Deep Is Your Love. I
love that song.
How you are an anomaly. You have done something a lot of gospel artists want to do, and I think are envious of. You've been able to do the urban. You've gone from gospel to pop to R&B, to being a band member, to a musician, to an artist on your own, all at the same time. Nobody else that I know, especially coming from the faith-based world, has been able to do that. I mean, you had a Sam Cooke back in the day, but once he did a crossover piece, he couldn't come back. Same thing with Aretha Franklin. I mean, she could, but she stayed in that realm, and you have done something that no one else has done. That I can think of, and I feel like I'm a little bit of a historian in it. How in the world did you do this and not go insane? Being a PK and everything.
Right. Well, part of it for me was that I did study those people. I wrote a book some years ago. Oh, Why Can't I Sing About Love? And I had a quote from Al Green, and I had a quote from Aretha Franklin. Of course, I never got to meet Sam Cooke, but I studied those stories.
Really? Okay.
Just understand what they went through. And one thing I always saw is, if you start gospel, it's hard to go somewhere else.
Yes.
But if you don't, then you can talk about whatever you want to. Stevie had Jesus. And all these different songs. Donnie had all these different songs where you could feel the faith and you could feel the soul of it, but they didn't start there because gospel, unfortunately, a lot of times limits you to talking about one thing. We serve a big God, but the genre that represents God is pretty boxed in, right? So I knew that I was going to remain myself, but I didn't want to box myself into that title and being that. It was like, I'm gonna just be myself, and when I want to talk about God, I will, and it's proven to work out for me. Not always, especially in the beginning when I was just trying to figure it out, but I had time to figure it out. But as you know, these seeds were planted so long ago, so people see some success now, but I've been grinding it out.
You've been grinding. Exactly. Actually, I had an artist who told me, well, we're coming on and we want to be like a PJ Morton. I started laughing. I said, look, baby, this young man has been at it for a really long time. I think they came on the Gumbo project. That's when they got hip to, and I'm saying, he's been at it. He's been working churches, clubs, everything. This isn't someone who just came on. You may have just known about him, but the thing that you did that was surprising to me is you brought your gospel fans too over with you, because I'd be there. We'd be
Hmm.
there in the club to go support PJ Morton.
Yeah, yeah.
In LA. You
Even my
Yeah,
parents.
we were in all kinds
Yeah,
of
but what was
places
that
with
place?
him.
But there was a little club in LA. What was
In
that
LA,
little
that's
club?
where he did the live album. It was
Oh,
over in
okay.
Santa Monica.
Called the Temple. It was called the Temple Bar.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That was good right there.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, well, that was important to me. Um, my parents, come to my shows. It was important for me to make music where anybody could be there and still feel
Yes.
comfortable.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
Kirk told me one time to make if Jesus was sitting right in front of me, would he be okay with it? And that I really
Yes.
that where it's like, all right, I'm I don't feel like I'm compromising who I
You
am
have it.
No.
to any of this music, and that's been important. It's been
In your
challenging.
face.
Yeah, it's been challenging because my R&B counterparts, talk about whatever most of the time, and I just never felt comfortable to go all the way there. When I signed the Young Money, Lil Wayne's verse.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was about. I said, now this could
I
be
signed Young
interesting.
Money, and I really wanted Wayne on my album. I'm like, I'm on Young Money, like it's official. I wanted Wayne and Drake, and then it took Wayne 6 months to record that verse, and I got it, and I'm like, well, I've been waiting 6 months. I didn't want to ask him. I said, well, I'm still being myself on this record, but I remember that's the first time I got a call from my dad. He's like, man, what is going on? All my friends calling me. I'm like, look, man, I can't control the man, but
Right.
that was one step where I had to even realize that even as an artist, like no matter who it is, if it doesn't fit, then I have to be honest with myself and be honest with that artist and have to understand that, man, I really want Wayne on this record, but if it don't make sense, even Wayne, I gotta, but I had to learn. That was one of those big decisions where I had to kind of, figure that out. Wayne, and I was like, because at that time he was doing a lot of features. I'm like, as long as he doesn't say this one word, I'm cool. And he's sure enough. But all love to Wayne.
Yeah, we used to go through that too because we always wanted to be relevant. And I mean, if I was really doing this music today, yes. Oh, we would have to talk, baby. We would really have to, because you make music still, very exciting for people like myself. And I wonder, was there any psychological angst? Did you ever go through a thing at one time? Because like your father's been on CNN, MSNBC, your mother is like, everybody goes to her. You're there before presidents, kings and queens. Yeah. And I was wondering, was there psychological, PKs go through stuff anyway. And I used to look at you sometimes and see people fawning and stuff, and I just felt for you sometimes,
Yeah.
Right.
For me, I really got to give a lot of credit to my parents because they really protected us, but also kept us really balanced. I mean, I think my father and my mother are yin and yang, just in the house, just like my mom taught me about the Beatles and told me about, rock concerts and R&B concerts. And my dad was from Detroit, from fully the church world, a preacher's kid.
Yes, yeah.
But my mom was into fashion, and she was,
honey, nobody can outdress Coke.
Yeah.
They took me to my first fashion show.
There it is. My mom, when the channel E used to only be runway. That's what my mom would have on.
That's right.
7. So it was a lot of balance, and I started really young. I started writing at 15, but I was playing gigs and stuff at 14, and I never had a curfew. I didn't have the strict upbringing that most PKs have, and I really realized when I got to Morehouse and all these preachers' kids were freshmen, and they were going. That was the first time they had any freedom. And I didn't feel like I had freedom already. So it really protected me from a lot of things that normally happen in that world. Of course, there was unwarranted pressure. I'm not only, you know, just a preacher's kid. I'm named after the man. I'm his only son, you know. So it was like, it was extra pressure, but because of him understanding that my purpose was different, and he embraced that and allowed me to be exactly who I was, you know.
That's good. You know, along that line, just to kind of say something, because a lot of times there's the expectation that you're supposed to go into a preaching ministry, be a pastor, have a church, and that whole bit. But you can still have zeal, you know, and do other things. You don't have to. That zeal doesn't have to be manifested just as being a pastor.
100%.
Christians, we should be able to express the zeal that we have in a lot of different ways. And so you're called to be a musician. I was an engineer. There's Vicki called me to help her. So we do a lot of different things, man.
But
we love the Lord.
I think Bishop would have been a lot more like you if he had more freedom, I think. I don't know if you remember this cover we did with him with the hat on and being real.
Oh, yeah. City Fire. I resigned on that album. So
That's and he was singing "I Believe I Can Fly." He was doing a lot of things that bishops wouldn't normally do. And I remember even when we did Shabbat with all the dancing bishops, we called them. Right. I think I can see seeds of that. And you know, College just there. She introduced me to B. Michaels.
Oh wow.
That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
That's where I got my internship.
So my dad's story, the reason you feel that, and I agree with you, Mr. Clark, 100%. I think that represents the body of Christ for real. If we are all doing different things that we're purposed to do, I always tell you're doing God a disservice when you do something that you're not created to do. Like if a clock isn't working as a clock, but it looks beautiful, the creator of it isn't happy because it's not telling time, you know. But my father, he was gonna get signed to Atlantic Records when Al Green was really popping.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Dad, and they flew him. He did an audition. My dad was from Windsor, so right there by Detroit. So Motown was popping, but Atlantic wanted to sign my dad, and he did the audition, and after that audition realized, like, all right, this is not exactly what I want to do, you know. But I think that being a star and having that thing that drew them to him never left, right?
No.
So that's able to use it, use gifts in what he did so well. But I think it's also why he recognized when I was that I wasn't you know, but maybe I was that guy that was gonna say yes to Atlantic, right, and become that thing.
Yes.
My purpose. But he was always sensitive. My dad, he lost his dad at 12, so I think mentally he just had to get an understanding for things much earlier and understand a lot of people's different perspectives, you know, because of the way he grew up. His mom died at 21, and when he was 21, that's when he moved to New Orleans after that. So he was on his own, and he was, you know, and I think that gave him a lot of foresight that maybe, you know, someone else wouldn't have, you know, losing his father that early, but still having such an impact on him.
Yeah. Well, now you're a married man with 3 kids. I saw your oldest son is 16. Is that right?
Oh, man.
That's right. Yeah, Jakai.
Be right.
That's my son. Well, I've been raising him since Courtney and I were dating, since he was right before he was 2. And I just bought him a car the other day for his birthday. That's crazy. That's what my father did. My father is a creature of habit. I don't know if you know this, but he is like, I got house key at 12. I got, you know, all these things. He's about these dates. Maybe that's him not having a father, you know, or you losing his. Yeah. No, I need this to be like this. But 16 was car no matter what. And I just followed that tradition. I couldn't believe it. I texted him. I'm like, Dad, I'm at the car dealership. Like the same way you were with me.
That just hurts my heart.
Yeah.
Time passed. PJ got kids and buying them cars.
You met me at 14. Yeah.
14, yes.
Oh my God.
I'll be married 12 years on Christmas. So
12 years of Christmas.
yeah.
That's right. I remember when you got married and it's around Christmas. Right.
Yeah.
We'll be hitting 40
years marriage this month.
Wow.
And your
Yes.
parents have been married how long?
I think they'll be 42 this December, I believe.
Okay. I really got to
catch up.
But you are an old married man now, and I think that with kids, which is just too much. But in terms of your music and your musical side, PJ, is this correct? Because I can't believe this. You don't read music?
I cannot read music. No.
PJ, I just don't understand that. How people why couldn't somebody pray over me and I just start?
You know what?
I have wanted that gift, and
I will take not being able to read music, but being able to play like you
do. And I was telling Claude, and we're gonna talk about how you shape music and how you've got your very own sound. No matter what you play, how deep is our love, or what you did with JoJo, it has your stamp on it. And I think because you weren't trained a certain way, it kept you from being a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And it made you hear things a certain way. So I'm wondering how that happened. How old were you when you started playing? And talk to me about the shaping of music and how you hear it.
I think, well, there was the yin and yang of my house, right? My mother would listen to classical music on the radio. a New Orleans girl from the project, but she would listen to classical music, right?
Okay.
And but my father, so she wanted me to be a classical musician. She wanted me to learn. My father, growing up Church of God in Christ, he's like, oh, he's gonna be fine. I'm gonna pray over his hands. I mean, I need a musician.
And then he just started praying.
I
prayed over myself trying to play. It did not work.
It didn't work. I don't know. It worked in his instance, but and also being from New Orleans, it was that yin and yang of you know, you had like Moses Gordon who wrote all of these pieces, who written, and then you had these jazz musicians who they grew up, not just with their ear. I remember when they talked about Domino, like asking him, telling him he's playing rock. He's like, no, this is the same R&B I've been playing in New Orleans all these years.
Was
like,
Fats Domino from
what
New
is
Orleans?
rocking? What's that?
Was Fats from New Orleans?
Oh yeah, Fats from New Orleans. Yeah,
but I know his music. I left. So you've got all of these sounds in your head, and then you, of course, here's a little Stevie Wonder. We were talking about how you are the R&B singer for the day. You feel, especially in some of your more relevant songs, like what you're doing with Toby, who we're going to talk about in a minute, because I don't know, you might have to introduce me to him or something. I'm so fascinated with him.
Yeah.
But we've so you're shaping this music a certain way. We talked with Andre Crouch, and I do this too. When I'm marketing or when I'm seeing something, I see it in colors first. And Andre could see a color and write a song out. Is there a process with you that helps you shape this stuff the way you do?
I didn't say I started playing at 8. So that's kind of when that started happening. And I don't remember. I only remember not knowing how to play and knowing how to play. I don't remember the process of learning. It just doesn't. I don't have any recollection of that. But I think because I didn't have any rules and I just was listening to so much music. I mean, you mentioned Andre Crouch. My mom told me about when he came, and it was like her first concert in college, seeing Andre Crouch.
Okay.
Wow.
Like star back then,
Oh,
and I had the Beatles, and then I had Stevie, and then I had the Winans and Commission. So I was listening to everything. And I think for me, melody is always the first thing that comes. I've never written a song with lyrics first. It's always just a melody with no words.
Yeah, and I can see that.
I just kind of, once the melody speaks to me, then it's almost like the melody tells me what words to say, It almost really, sometimes when I do the demos before I have words and I'm mumbling it, it's almost like my mumble was trying to tell me what it was, and and then it starts to form into real words. That's more often than not my process.
Sometimes you've got that blah 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 blah. Blah,
Those were the words.
Sometimes it's actually gibberish. Yes.
gibberish. Yeah. Yeah, it's just so fascinating, and you've got a style that's so definite. The other thing I really respect about you, and this is a problem I find in faith-based and in urban music, is everybody sounds like somebody else. You didn't try to sound like your father or your mother. You let it be free-forming. You didn't try to do a lot of runs or fascinate people. You just were singing like PJ, not trying to overdo. Where did you get that confidence to be that kind of guy that I'm just going to sing this, I'm just going to do this the way I feel it, and it's going to be all right?
I really don't know. I think part of it was ignorance. I just believed. I mean, I really believed this, and maybe this was that confidence when you met me. But I really believed that if I did the best I could do, like what I thought was the best, I thought that, like Emotions, my first album, I literally thought I was gonna sell 10 million records. Like there was no doubt. I just didn't know about the politics and like fitting on radio. I'm like, well, I'm making the best music possible. And so that hurt me for a long time. I think part of it was not being motivated by money, right? Like I was more interested. I didn't pay myself for years when I had these bands on the road with me. It was like, I'll pay them and I'll figure out myself, because I cared more about the presentation and what I was saying and making an impact. That was more important to me than actual money. And maybe it's because I grew up with things, you know, like I didn't, like I said,
so you didn't have to.
So I was fortunate enough for that to not be my motivation. And I think when other things aren't your motivation, and the art and being special and making something that's gonna touch people is your motivation, then it makes it easier. And every time money started to slip in, and I doing IG, huh?